Hello, today we are going to talk about UV, which is a fast replacement for the Python toolchain, PIP, the Python module installer, virtual env, venv, the virtual environment manager. It also manages Python versions written in Rust. On Google, I searched for UV Python. I got to the source code repository on GitHub, astral-sh/uv, this one. The official webpage, docs.astral.sh/uv, this one. And the blog post which announces this new project UV from Charlie Marsh. Let's install it. So it says getting started with a curl sh. I'm on Linux, Ubuntu 24.10. So this is the command line for me. It just downloads two executables, statically linked, built with Rust from the Rust programming language into tilde/.cargo/bin. The executables are named UV and UVX. Let's actually see what's there. These two executables. And then it adds this directory to the path environment variable. In this position. You might need to log out from your graphical user interface session and then log in or restart the computer in order for the changes to the path environment variable to be applied. Okay, I'm not going to use project management. What I want from UV, I want two things. I want version management for Python. I do not want to use the Python that's available in my Linux operating system. I want a different one to be downloaded and managed by UV. And then I want to have a venv created into this directory, into the directory 10_19. So I'm not looking at the project management part. Let's actually look at UVX. So this is similar to PIPX. You can run UVX either using the long version, so UV tool run, or UVX. It says UVX pycow say and then a string. So let's actually see that. Okay, and whenever possible, these tools, UV and UVX, will show the amount of time it took for everything to finish. So to download the package from the PIP upstream repository, to cache it, to have it available for next invocations of PIP or PIPX or UVX. And then to actually install it and make it available, and then to run it as a Python module in this case. So we want to start with Python management. The command line is UV Python. Okay, so I have the option of seeing all of the available Python installations, all of the versions that I can install on my computer. So that's UV Python list. It already shows me the versions that are pre-installed in my operating system. So /usr/bin/python3, which is actually 3.12.6. But I want the version 3.13, so the latest one that was made available and released by the upstream Python project. You can install more than one version at a time. UV Python install and the very short version, so 3.13. Now that I have the Python version that I need for the current directory, I'm going to create a venv. For that, I'm going to use the verb venv from the command uv. So uv venv -- help. Let's look at the help. Okay, so options and path. The path to the virtual environment to create. We're not going to specify that because it's optional. And we're going to specify a Python version because we have to already installed the 3.12 from my Linux operating system. 3.13, I have just installed it using uv python install. So the command line should be similar to this one, but with 13. So uv venv -- python 3.13.0. And it creates in the current directory a hidden directory .venv, which I cannot see where it is. Yeah, like this, okay. So it's hidden, the current directory, as I expected, the correct name that I would expect, .venv, which is the default directory name for the Python venv module. And now we will activate the venv. In here it says the command line that I should use. I'm using bash as the command line shell. I'm inside the venv. It's showing me the current venv, so the name of the directory 10_19. There is additional support. There is a way of specifying the Python version that we want by using uv python pin. There's support for single file Python scripts which depend on PIP modules, as in this case, depends on requests. So uv add -- script, the name of the file, and then the name of the module. And then you can run the example.py file. We have a virtual environment. We have support for requirements.txt for installing packages which are needed by the current project. And I'm going to just install packages using uvpip command line. For instance, for a CMake linter. So I want to install in the current venv this CMake lint pip package. The command line, if I'm using pip, is pip install CMake lint. And we're just going to prepend uv at the start of the command line. As we can see, uv pip tries to be a bit command line, have similar command line for the pip install command line. So just prepending uv before pip install, and then the list of modules you want to install. We'll install them not using pip from the installation of Python that you have on your operating system, but it's going to use uv's version of pip from, in this case, from the current venv. Okay, so now we should have the executable available. It's called CMake lint. And this is coming from the where we expect it to be, which is the current directory, the hidden subdirectory .venv, then bin directory, and the name of the executable CMake lint. Let's actually look inside the .venv directory. Inside of the bin directory, we would expect to have Python, and we do have it. We would expect to have Python 3, so executables. We have it, Python 3.13, yes, we have it. But then we would also expect to have PIP and PIP3 executables. And these are not available. This forces you to not use the package manager that's shipped by Python 3.13 in this case, but to actually use UV as a replacement for PIP. So you want to run Rust source code when you use PIP. You don't want to run the Python source code that's behind PIP, the PIP executable. Okay, and now we can just start using the cmakelint executable because it's available inside the path environment variable. So in this case, we're going to use cmakelint. We're going to use this command line, and we're going to use it into this directory. Let's change to inside of the directory and just run the command line. So the executable is this one, cmakelint, and then it's wrapped inside a do done, and that's wrapped inside of a for. Okay, so it finds issues in these files. So line 44. And here it says that there should be no space between if and the open parentheses. And this is the way to fix the issue. And if you want to get even fancier, we can start Visual Studio Code. And do as it says in here, open the terminal, control backtick. Let's clear Control L and then run the same command line. And now when we control click, it's going to go to the correct line and the correct file. So line 73, file src/cmakelist.txt. So in here it says the same thing. After if, there should be no space. So let's delete this space and save. And there should be spaces used, not tabs. We can see in here the space shown as a dot, and then the tab shown as a arrow pointing towards the right. So we need to use spaces instead of tabs. And we can run the command line again. This time we have less issues. Let's fix all of them. What does it say in here? It says that there's no space between the ending parentheses, so there should be no space after the open parentheses. The same thing here. And two more. No space after end macro. Save, and now if we run the command line again, there should be 0 errors. So we have fixed all of the linting static analysis issues found by the executable cmakelint, which was installed from PIP using UV as a PIP replacement. So this is it. This is a very short and fast run through the UV toolchain that's written in Rust and wants to replace many of the Python tools. And the list of Python tools keeps increasing. The End result is, the aim is to have cargo style features available for the Python programming language. You should go through the rest of the documentation. And maybe UV is the tool for you. Yes, it's not, it's currently backed by a commercial organization, by Astral, and it's not part of the upstream Python toolchain. But if it works for you, if it's useful for you, maybe it's useful in your Docker containers because of the speed and of the efficient caching, do give it a try. Maybe it's the correct tool for you. Thank you.